Chapter 42 of Tante. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Tante by Douglas Sedgwick. Chapter 42. Madame von Marwitz looked out from her fly at the ugly little wayside inn, with its narrow lawn and its bands of early flowers. Trees rose round it. The moors of the forest stretched before. It was remote and very silent. Here it was, she had learned at the station, some miles away, that the German lady and gentleman were staying, and the lady was said to be very ill. Madame von Marwitz's glance, as it rested upon the goal of her journey, had in it the look of vast constructive power, as when, for the first time, it rested on a new piece of music, realized it, mastered it, possessed it, actual in her mind, before her fingers gave it to the world. So now she realized and mastered and possessed the scene that was to be enacted. She got out of the fly and told the man to carry in her box and dressing case, and then to wait. She opened the little gate, and as she did so, glancing up, she saw Franz Lippheim standing, looking out at her from a ground floor window. His gaze was stark in its astonishment. She returned it with a solemn smile. In another moment she had put the landlady aside with benign authority, and was in the little sitting room. "My Franz!" she exclaimed in German. "Thank God!" She threw her arms around his neck and burst into sobs. Franz, holding a pipe extended in his hand, stood for a moment in silence, his eyes still staring their innocent dismay over her shoulder. Then he said: "How have you come here, gnädige Frau?" "Come, Franz!" Madame von Marwitz echoed, weeping. "Have I not been seeking my child for the last 6 days? Love such as mine is a torch that lights one's path. Come! Yes, I am come. I have found her. She is safe, and with my Franz." "But Karen is ill, very ill indeed," said Franz, speaking with some difficulty, locked as he was in the great woman's arms. "The doctor feared for her life 3 days ago. She has been delirious. And it is you, gnädige Frau, whom she fears, you and her husband." Madame von Marwitz leaned back her head to draw her hand across her eyes, clearing them of tears. "But do I not know it, Franz?" she said, smiling a trembling smile at him. "Do I not know it? I have been in fault. Yes, and I will make confession to you. But oh, my child has punished me too cruelly. To leave me without a word, at night. It was the terror of her husband that drove her to it, Franz. Yes, it has been a delirium of terror. She was ill when she went from me." She had released him now, though keeping his hands in hers, and she still held them as they sat down at the centre table in the little room, he on one side, she on the other, she leaning to him across it, and she read in his face his deep discomfort. "But you see, gnädige Frau," Franz again took up his theme, "she believes that you wish to send her back to him. She has said it. She could not trust you, and so she fled from you. And I have promised to take care of her. I am to take her to my mother in Germany as soon as she can travel. We were on our way to Southampton, and would have been days since with the Mutterchen, if in the train Karen had not become so ill, so very ill. It was a fever that grew on her, and delirium. I did not know what was best to do, and I remembered this little inn where the Mutterchen and we 4 stayed some years ago, when we came first to England. The landlady was very good, and so I thought of her and brought Karen here. But when she is better I must take her to Germany. Gnädige Frau, I have promised it." While Franz thus spoke, a new steadiness had come to Madame von Marwitz's eyes. They dilated singularly, and with them her nostrils, as though she drew a deep new breath of realization. It was as if Franz had let down a barrier, pointed out a way. There was no confession to be made to Franz. Karen had spared her. She looked at him, looked and looked, and she shook her head with infinite gentleness. "But Franz," she said, "I do not wish her to go back to her husband. I was in fault, yes, grave fault, to urge it upon her. But Karen's terror was her mistake, her delirium. It was for my sake that she had left him, Franz, because to me he had shown insolence and insult. For your sake too, Franz, for he tried to part her from all her friends, and of you he spoke with an unworthy jealousy. But though my heart bled that Karen should be tied to such a man, I knew him to be not a bad man, hard, narrow, but in his narrowness upright, and fond, I truly believed it, of his wife, and I could not let her break her marriage. Do you not see, Franz? If it were for my sake, I could not see her young life ruined in its dawn. I wished to write to my good friend, Mrs. Forrester, who is also Karen's friend, and his, and I offered myself as intermediary, as intercessor from him to Karen if need be. Was it so black, my fault? For it was this that Karen resented so cruelly, Franz. Our Karen can be harsh and quick, you know that, Franz. But no, can you believe for one moment that I would now have her return to him, if indeed it were any longer possible? No, Franz, no. No, no. Karen shall never see that man again. Only over my dead body should he pass to her. I swear it, not only to you, but to myself. And Franz, dear Franz, what I think of now is you, and your love and loyalty to my Karen. You have saved her. You have saved me. It is life you bring, a new life, Franz. And smiling upon him, her cheeks still wet with tears, she softly sang Tristan's phrase to Kurvenal, Holder, truer, wie soll der Tristan danken. Her joy, her ecstasy of gratitude, shone upon him. She was the tutelary goddess of his family. Trust for himself and for his loved Karen went out to her and took refuge beneath the great wings she spread, and as she held his hands and smiled upon him, he told her, in his earnest, honest German, all that had happened to him and Karen, of his walking tour, and of the meeting on the Falmouth headland at dawn, and of their journey here. "And one thing, gnädige Frau," he said, "that troubled me, but that will now be well, since you are come to us, is that I have told them here that Karen is my wife. You see, gnädige Frau, the good landlady knows us all, and knows that Lotta, Minna, and Elizabeth are the only daughters that the Mutterchen has, besides the little ones." I remembered that the Mutterchen had told her this. She talked much with her. It was but 3 years ago, gnädige Frau. It was not time enough for a very little one to grow up, so I could not say that Karen was my sister. And I have to be much with her. I sit beside her all through the night, for she is afraid to be alone. The armes kind, and the good landlady and the maid must sleep. So it seemed to me that it was right to tell them that Karen was my wife. You think so too, nicht wahr, gnädige Frau? Madame von Marwitz had listened, her deeply smiling eyes following, understanding all, and as the last phase of the story came they deepened to only a greater sweetness. They showed no surprise. A content almost blissful shone on Franz Lippheim. "It is well, Franz," she said. "Yes, you have done rightly. All is well. More well than you yet perhaps see. Karen is safe, and Karen shall be free. What has happened is God sent. The situation is in our hands." For a further moment, silent and weighty, she gazed at him, and then she added, "There need be no fear for you and Karen. I will face all pain and difficulty for you both. You are to marry Karen, Franz." The shuttle that held the great gold thread of her plan was thrown. She saw the pattern stretch firm and fair before her. Silently and sweetly, with the intentness of a sibyl who pours and holds forth a deep potion, she smiled at him across the table. Franz, who all this time had been leaning on his arms, his hands in hers, his eyes, through their enlarging pince-nez, fixed on her, did not move for some moments after the astounding statement reached him. His stillness and his look of arrested stupor suggested, indeed, a large blue bottle slung securely in the subtle threads of a spider's web, and reduced to torpid acquiescence by the spider's stealthy ministrations. He gazed with mildness, almost with blandness, upon the enchantress, as if some prodigy of nature overtopping all human power of comment had taken place before him. Then, in a small feeble voice, he said, "Was meinen Sie, gnädige Frau?" "Dear, dear Franz," Madame von Marwitz murmured, pressing his hands with maternal solicitude, and thus giving him more time to adjust himself to his situation. "It is not as strange as your humility finds it, and it is now inevitable. Do you not think I realize the position in which you and Karen are placed? I am not the only witness. The landlady, the doctor, the maid, and who knows who else, all will testify that you have been here with Karen as your wife, that you have been with her day and night. Do not imagine that Mr. Jardine has sought to take Karen back, or would try to. He has made no movement to get her back. He has most completely acquiesced in their estrangement. And when he hears that she has fled with you, that she has passed here for a week almost, as your wife, he will be delighted, but delighted with all his anger against you, to seize the opportunity for divorcing her and setting himself free." But while she spoke, Franz's large and ruddy face had paled. He had drawn his hands from hers, though she tried to retain them. He rose from his chair. "But, gnädige Frau," he said, "that is not right. No, that is wrong. He may not divorce Karen." "How will you prevent him from divorcing her, Franz?" Madame von Marwitz returned, folding him with her eye, while, in great agitation, he passed his hand repeatedly over his forehead and hair. "You have been seen. I have been told by those who had seen you that you and Karen were here. Already Karen's husband must know it. And if you could prevent it, how would you wish to, Franz? How would you wish, if you could, to bind her to this man for life? Try to think clearly, my friend. It is Karen's happiness that hangs in the balance. It is upon that we must fix our eyes. My faith forbids divorce, but I am not devotee, and Karen is not of my faith, nor is her husband, nor are you. I take my stand beside Karen. I say that one so young, so blameless, so unfortunate, shall not have her life wrecked by one mistake. With me as your champion, you and Karen can afford to snap your fingers at the world's gross verdict. Karen will be with me. I will take her abroad. I will cherish her as never child was cherished. We make no defence. In less than a year the case is over. Then you will come for Karen, and you will be married from my house. I will give Karen a large dot. She will want for nothing in her life, and you and she will live in Germany, with your friends and your great music, and your babies, Franz. What I had hoped for 2 years ago shall come to pass, and this bad dream shall be forgotten." Franz, looking dazedly about him while she spoke, now dropped heavily on his chair, and joining his hands before his eyes, leaned his head upon them. He muttered broken ejaculations. "Ach Gott! Unbegreiflich! Such happiness is not to think on. You are kind, gnädige Frau. You believe that all is for the best. But Karen, gnädige Frau, our little Karen, she does not love me. How could she be happy with me? Never for one moment have I hoped. It was against my wish that the Mutterchen wrote to you that time 2 years ago. No, always I saw it. She had kindness only for me and friendliness, but no love, never any love. And it will be to smirch our Karen's name, gnädige Frau. It will be to accept disgrace for her. We must defend her from this accusation, for it is not true. Ah, gnädige Frau, you are powerful in the world. Can you not make it known that it is untrue, that Karen did not come to me?" He leaned his forehead on his clasped hands, protesting, appealing, expostulating, and Madame von Marwitz, leaning slightly back in her chair, resting her cheek against her finger, scrutinized his bent head with a change of expression. Intently, almost fiercely, With half-closed lids she examined Franz's crisp upstanding hair, the thick rims of his ruddy ears, the thick fingers with their square and rather dirty nails, and the large turquoise that adorned one of them. Cogitation, self-control, and fierce determination were in her gaze. Then it veiled itself again in gentleness, and with a steady and insistent patience she said: "You are astray, my friend, much astray, and very ignorant. Look with me at fact, and then say, if you can, that we can make it known that it is untrue. You are known to be in love with Karen. You are known to have asked me for her hand. Karen makes a marriage that is unhappy. It is known that she is not happy with her husband. Did you not yourself see that all was not well with them? It has been known for long. You arrive in London. Karen sees you again. Next day she flies from Mr. Jardine, and takes refuge with you at your lodgings. Yes, you will say, but your mother, your sisters too, were there. Yes, the world will answer, and she came to me to wait till they were gone, and you free to join her. In a fortnight's time she seizes a pretext for leaving me. I speak of what the world will say, Franz, and meets you. Will the world, will Karen's husband, believe that it was by chance? She is found hidden with you here. Those who see you come to me. It is so I find you, and she is here bearing your name. Come, my friend, it is no question of saving Karen from smirches. The world will say that it is your duty as an honourable man to marry Karen. Better that she should be known as your wife than as your abandoned mistress. So speaks the world, Franz, and though we know that it speaks falsely, we have no power to undeceive it. But now, mark me, my friend, I have no wish to undeceive it. I do not see the story, told even in these terms, as disgraceful. I do not see my Karen smirched. I am not one who weighs the human heart and its needs in the measures of convention. Bravely and in truth Karen frees herself. So be it. You say that she does not love you. I say, Franz, how do you know that? I say that if she does not love you yet, she will love you. And I add, Franz, for the full ease of your conscience, that if Karen, when she is free, does not wish to marry you, then it is very simple. She remains with me, and does not marry. But what I ask of you now is bravery and discretion, for our Karen's sake. She must be freed. In your heart you know that it is well that Karen should be freed. In your heart you know that Karen must not be bound till death to this man she loathes and dreads and will never see again. If not you, Franz, is it not possible that Karen may love another man one day? But it is you that she will love. Nay, it is you she loves. I know my Karen's heart. Tell me, Franz, am I not right in what I say?" For some time now Franz had been looking at her, and her voice grew more tender and more soft as she saw that he found no word of protest. He sat upright, still, at intervals running his fingers through his hair, breathing deeply, near tears, yet arrested and appeased. And hope, beautiful, strange hope, linking itself to the intuitions of the dawn when he had sat above Karen's sleep, stole into his heart. Why could it not be true? Why should not Karen come to love him? She would be with him, free, knowing how deep and tender was his love for her, and that it made no claim. Would not her heart answer his one day? And as if guessing at his thoughts, Madame von Marwitz added, the dimness of tears in her own eyes, "See, my friends, let it be this wise. I bring Karen to your mother in a few days. She will be strong enough for travel in a few days, is it not so? She will then be with you, and yours in Germany, and I watching over you. So you will see her from day to day? So you will gently mend the torn young heart and come to read it. And you may trust a wise old woman, Franz, when I prophesy to you that Karen's heart will turn and grow to yours. You may trust one wise in hearts when she tells you that Karen is to be your loving wife." She rose, and the sincerity of her voice was unfeigned. She was moved, deeply moved, by the beauty of the pattern she wove. She was deeply convinced by her own creation. Franz too got up, stumbling. "And now, Franz," she said, "we say au revoir. I have come, and it is not seemly that you remain here longer. You go to Germany to make ready for us, and I write to your mother to day. Ah, the dear Lise! Her heart will rejoice. Where is your room, Franz, and where is Karen's?" There were 3 doors in the little sitting room. She had entered from the passage by one. She looked now towards the others. Franz opened one. It showed a flight of stairs. "Karen's room is up those stairs," he said, closing it very softly, "and mine is here, next this one where we are. We are very quiet, you see, and shut in to ourselves. There is no other way to Karen's room but this, and her room is at the back, so that no disturbance reaches her. I think that she still sleeps. Gnädige Frau, we must not wake her if she sleeps. I will take you to her as soon as she is awake." Madame von Marwitz, with her unchanging smile, was pressing him towards the door of his own room. I will wait until she wakes, Franz. Your luggage, is it here? I will help you to pack, my Franz." She had drawn him into his room, her arm passed into his, and even while she spoke, she pointed out the few effects scattered here and there, and with his torpid look of a creature hypnotized, Franz obeyed her, taking from her hands the worn brush, the shaving appliances, the socks and book and nightshirt. When all were laid together in his knapsack and he had drawn the straps, he turned to her, still with the dazzled gaze. "But this may wait," he said, "until I have said good-bye to Karen." Madame von Marwitz looked at him with an almost musing sweetness. She had the aspect of a conjurer who, with a last light puff of breath or touch of a magic finger, puts forth the final resource of a stupefying dexterity. So delicately, so softly, with a calm that knew no doubt or hesitation, she shook her head. "No, no farewells now, my Franz. That would not be well. That would agitate her. She could not listen to all our story. She could not understand. Later, when she is in my arms, at peace, I will tell her all, and that you are gone to wait for us, and give her your adieu." He gazed at the conjurer. "But, gnädige Frau, may I not say good-bye to Karen? Together we could tell her. It will be strange to her to wake and find that I am gone." Her arm was passed in his again. She was leading him through the sitting room, and she repeated with no change of voice, "No, my Franz, I know these illnesses. A little agitation is very bad. You will write to her daily. She shall have your letters every day. You promise me, but I need not ask it of our Franz, to write. In 3 days, or in 4, we will be with you." She had got him out of his room, out of the sitting room, into the passage. The cab still waited. The cabman dozed on his box in the spring sunlight. Before the landlady, Madame von Marwitz embraced Franz and kissed and blessed him. She kept an arm round him until she had him at the cab door. She almost lifted him in. "You will tell Karen that you did not find it right, that I should say good-bye to her," he stammered. And with a last long pressure of the hand, she said, "I will tell her, Franz. We will talk much of you, Karen and I. Trust me, I am with you both. In my hands you are safe." The cab rolled away, and Franz's face, from under the round hat and the quill, looked back at the triumphant conjurer, dulled and dazed rather than elated by the spectacle of her inconceivable skill. Chapter 42.